don't really know how this is going to go.
You can tell us what you've got planned.
All right, welcome everybody to episode 2, take 2 of Veeam Product Strategy Live. So, look, people might not know, and they're not going to know this, but this is our second take tonight because we just had something really interesting happen to our first take. So, we were probably, 10 minutes in to 10, 15 minutes in, and all of a sudden we started to see some other people join the call, and I thought, great, we've got more people coming.
These are great. Wow, we're so popular.
It's an open call, right? Yeah, it's an open call. Why not? You know, we got our people on there, which are
we want to share with the community.
Exactly. This is what we wanted to do. This is the whole point of this, was to be open and live. However, the world we're living in today is a very different place to what it was even 2 weeks ago when we did episode 1 of the podcast. And unfortunately, in 2 weeks, because a lot of bored individuals at home, they've worked out that if you are monitoring Twitter, you can find people advertising Zoom meetings online. And let's be honest, the Prime Minister of England had this happen to him yesterday, so I kind of feel kind of special that it happened to us as well. But we effectively got hijacked. It's all recorded. It's all quite interesting. Most of the stuff we cannot repeat that was said, but it's just an interesting time that we're in, right, in terms of trust, and people will find different ways to breach security. Zoom has had some negative press over the past couple of days, actually, about this sort of stuff, about their sort of lack of security and how they haven't really thought about, you know, the world that we live in today. You know, when you join a Zoom meeting and it's open, if you don't lock it down, the meeting ID is actually 10 numbers long. And 10 numbers can be easily guessed. And so what was happening was people were joining random meetings, it's guessing the numbers. Of course.
But I wouldn't necessarily say that's Zoom's fault. I'd say it's the person who started creating the meeting's fault. Because, you know, it's like everything. If it's not gated, then somebody's going to hijack it.
Oh, for sure.
Know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But what we were hearing so this particular case was because some person who has got a fair following on Twitter put it on Twitter as an open meeting. So it's going to happen, and we get retweets and it happens, right? But Zoom, there's been some stories about those numbers being guessed as well. And there's people joining random meetings. So people doing this all day, just running numbers through. So what do you think, Melissa? Because you like security. Like, what's your take on it? I mean, is it just the world we're in today, or how can we, apart from putting a password?
I think I totally just I scratched my face. I can't like touch anything now. I just saw myself in the Zoom thing, scratching my face. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's issues posting a link to open event, right? But I don't know, usually people don't go trolling through the internet looking for stuff or guessing things. I would just say, you know, lucky for us, we were all adults, so we shut it down and all right, whatever. But there's a lot of people using Zoom for school and kids using it to talk to each other. And they're definitely the people that probably aren't security minded at all, and they're probably using the open meeting. So for something like that to happen to like a group of children, that's like really bad stuff.
And it's probably already happened, hasn't it? Because honestly, like,
it has. I've seen on Twitter it happening. So it's a couple of different things. It's education from Zoom and everybody on how to use it correctly, and maybe some additional functionality. Like I was just looking real quick while we were resetting the meeting. I think you can like lock a meeting at a certain point or something like that.
You can create a password for the meetings and stuff.
Yeah, so it's just kind of end user education thing right now, right?
Yes.
Because Zoom's basically giving away the platform for free, right?
Well,
everybody knows how to use it correctly. So it's definitely like a education type thing.
You can't complain too much when what they're doing
free, right? The price is right.
It's free,
so,
you know. If you look at what we've done with this one, it's obviously now gated through our Veeam logins because Veeam pays for Zoom, so nobody's going to hijack this one.
Yeah, and so, plus, and I also had, I had to admit participants as well. So that was the idea. So password protected. You had to be a registered user to log in, and then I had to admit you to the meeting. So. If you just take that away, that's the basics of a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, but
because I've noticed with my
people who don't ever use Zoom before this gonna like understand that. So it's education.
It's education.
But I've noticed, like, when we talk about the schools and stuff, like my son their school uses all the Google Suite and they use Google Hangouts, and not one kid can join until the teacher actually accepts them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say from my son and daughter's school's perspective, they're kind of switched on with this. They've got the whole Google
That's
suite.
good.
It works wherever they are. They can use everything, but everything is through their. They have a school login. It's not that hard to guess what the password is, but it's a very unique student ID. But then when they're doing all these open Google Hangouts, the teacher actually accepts every kid, which I was quite impressed with. It's quite frustrating at times though, because you sit there for ages going, "Is the teacher going to answer us? Come on!" But the Zoom thing I thought was quite interesting because I'd never experienced that before, and then when the profile picture of the kid with the pile of money came up, holding it to a side of her face, I was like, "Well, that's an interesting profile picture for a Vanguard."
And look, and maybe we can
all
say,
like the hacker handles as their names. Like if you joined an open Zoom meeting or guessed a Zoom URL, I'm sorry, that doesn't make you a elite hacksaw.
And let's be honest, what day is it today? It's April Fool's Day. So if anything, we got fooled today, proper, second time today. So there you go. Anyways, let's move on. So that was quite interesting. You know, we'll and to be honest with you, it's given us a really good subject to talk about, and if anything, some awareness for people watching this at home, you know, on the replays now. Spread the word, make sure everyone's aware of what you need to do, because the world is different. People are bored at home. I mean, it's no different to people letting putting their AWS passwords on GitHub.
Do you guys remember chat roulette?
I do not know chat roulette, no.
Okay, never mind then. It's like a thing like that. I think it's pretty old.
Did I look convincing? Did I look convincing? Did I convince you that I don't know chat roulette? I think I do.
Modern day chat roulette for the enterprise. Zoom.
Wow. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, so let's refocus.
I'm feeling old now.
You don't know chat roulette?
No.
You're not that much. You're like 10 months older than me. So you
I know, but you still think you're like 18.
I do.
Yeah.
I do indeed, and I will never change. Okay, so obviously we've got David, we've got Melissa, and special guest today is Nikola. Nikola works in the product strategy team with us.
Hello.
Hey there, she's in Spain at the moment. She usually is living out of Prague. Beautiful city, we love Prague. Hopefully we can all get back there sooner rather than later when this thing's all over. But Nikola, do you just want to introduce yourself, and then we'll tell everyone why you're actually on.
Thank you, Anthony. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to see you virtually, even in those times when we are limited with communication. And I'm happy that we recovered the second try of this call, because let's say there were a lot of people also not trying to steal the meeting, but also to see something valuable. So I really appreciate the opportunity to talk here about the Vanguard program, which we have announced at the end of last week, who are the members of 2020 class. So I'm very excited about that. At the moment, we are getting together all the things related to kicking off the first initiative call that we are having with Vanguards this week. And there are many exciting things to come. So thanks for inviting me to share all this with you.
That's okay, yeah. So look, I mean, what we wanted to do today was talk about the Vanguard program specifically. And actually every one of us here, so apart from Nikola, David, Melissa, myself have been Vanguards at one point. So you know, I was lucky enough to be an inaugural Vanguard. I think it was in 2016 or 2015. I think it was 2015, 2016. Really great program from my perspective. It kind of helped, you know, bring me along to where I am today. If I wasn't part of the Vanguard program, I probably wouldn't be here today. Speaks volumes for the success of the program, what it actually means to the people that are in it. You know, David and Melissa as well. You guys were in it, but not for as long. But for when you were in it, just quickly describe, you know, what your thoughts on it was. Then before we get to Nikola to actually tell us specifically the cool bits about it.
I'll go if you want. Yeah, so I was a Vanguard. I think I got accepted about a year before I joined Veeam. For me, it was a real personal achievement because it is quite an elite program. When you think about like how many people are in it and stuff like that, for me, it was a big privilege to be able to be part of the Vanguard program. And it's not just about the benefits that it gives you, but it's the access and the entry point to the products that Veeam give you as well that's very unique to the Vanguard program. And for me, it was like the people in it. There was obviously yourself, Melissa, and some of the other Vanguards. When you compare to like the V-Expert program, which is very large now, and there's a lot of people, it's grown exponentially since I first became a V-Expert in 2010. The Vanguard program's still very small, tight-knit community, and obviously there's some great benefits as in there's the summit in Prague. But for me, it was a real privilege, and just to get that exposure to the Veeam product management as well, which you wouldn't normally get with any other influencer programs.
You're muted. I think you just said Melissa, but I couldn't make out the rest of what you said after Melissa, though. So
I just said Melissa.
Okay. So, yeah, I was a Vanguard, I think, in 2017, I believe, is the 1 year I was a Vanguard, because I kind of joined Veeam at the end of 2017. So
that's, by the way, normal. Let's put it out there that doesn't. I mean, there has been a few Vanguards that have joined, but that is not the norm. So yeah, we'll just set that record.
Are you calling it abnormal? But anyway, so my knowledge of Veeam was really interesting because, I had seen it a lot in the field as a NetApp SE, but when I really dived in was when I was doing my VCDX design. I'll just say that the customer I was basing my design off had a different backup product that I actually helped with the implementation of. And I was like, if I have to defend this, it's not good, because it was just a mess. So I was looking for a better solution, and I had worked with Veeam some, but that's really when I dove in on an architectural level, a sizing level, a day-to-day operations level, and all that kind of stuff. So after that experience, I was working at NetApp at the time, and the backup from storage snapshots like blew my mind and still does. Like if you troll through veeam.com, there's a video someplace of me showing backup from storage snapshots, I think. If it's not there now, it'll be there soon. But that was my absolute favorite feature, and the storage integration, really the reason why I came here, right? Because I went to NetApp because I was a big NetApp customer when I was a VMware administrator. I came to Veeam because I saw how easy it was to protect your data, especially on NetApp in my case. And it just works, right? So for me, it was definitely an interesting and like a privilege, as Dave said. It was really interesting because now I got to meet all these other Veeam people, right? And talk about all the nuts and bolts. We have a very active Slack channel and all that kind of stuff. So it was a great way to go more in depth in your Veeam knowledge too, right? Because some of these guys have been using it for years and years and years, and it was just a really great experience.
Cool, good stuff. So yeah, I mean, on that, so Nikola, just tell us a little bit more in detail about the program that you're managing and running. But firstly, tell us about the uniqueness of it in terms of the numbers, because in terms of other advocacy programs, I think the uniqueness is in the strength of the tightness of the group and the fact that it is actually very hard to become a member of the Veeam Vanguard program.
Sure. Thanks for giving me the chance to talk about what are the crucial points of the Vanguard program, because as you have already mentioned also with Melissa and David, that it's a kind of privilege for people to get into this program, because as we are not like growing exponentially like other influencer programs, we are trying to keep the group of individuals that we will be able to really like treat as individuals, not as numbers. This is one approach that we are different in, and also we would like to keep the disciplined growth of the group for future. So we would be still able to really get in interactions with Vanguards, not by massively sent generated emails, but really having real in-person conversations, not just with our product strategy team, but also while they are joining the program. It opens for them doors to many departments of Veeam development, system engineers, and other peers that they might interact with. And it's just up to every other Vanguard how he will, or he or she will use the opportunity to be member of the program for the year, because also as we are small, we are also having yearly renewals, and we have just announced last week members of the program for this year. And it was very hard, and it's every time very hard to do decisions, but we are about to really keep the program in the group of focused professionals, so we are still able to keep an interactions on the level as we are having so far. So this is one thing. And regarding the program itself, Anthony, should I talk about some general things? What is the program about?
Yeah, I think just interesting. So what number do we have this year? How many Vanguards are there?
So far this year, we are opening the class for 62 Vanguards.
62. Okay. And that shows, and that shows everyone that, you know, I wouldn't call this elitist. That's probably the wrong word to use, but we're very particular about who we let in. And, you know, we have to, because Nikola's probably going to talk about, and he'll talk about, Nikola, some of the benefits that you get in the program. And, you know, not only are they fantastic benefits, but we want this to benefit ourselves as a company as well. Our definition of an influencer program, an advocacy program, is also they're giving back to us. And when we go and meet in Prague once a year, wherever it might be, and even through the year on the Slack channel and whatnot, they're giving us valid feedback. They're testing our products. They've got access to our R&D guys, to the top guys, to Anton, to the other product managers, to give feedback. And, you know, it can be said that a lot of feedback they give directly influences certain ways the products get used. I know a lot of our PMs really rate these guys because they know that they're strong in Veeam, heavily invested into our platform, and that adds a lot of value to them. So that's why we don't just open it up to everybody. We really want to make sure that they are tight, solid individuals that are going to give us as much as what we give to them.
Yeah, and to kind of like what you said about it's not elitist, it's not, but it has to be earned. And that's the big thing, and that's a big difference between a lot of these other advocacy programs. It's like people seem to get into some of these, they publish one blog a year and then all of a sudden they're part of an advocacy program. Whereas from the Vanguard perspective, you know, if all you're doing is one blog a year, you're not going to become a Vanguard. It needs to be proven that you're influencing the industry around Veeam and specific topics in general, and of course, and then it's a voting system. So I think that's what makes it very unique as well. Is it's not just an open free for all. To me, it's more like the MVP program than it is the vExpert program, because the MVP program as well, that's historically very difficult to get in. People lose their status if they're not contributing as much, and it's the same with the Vanguard program. Whereas I would say the vExpert program, which I love, and it has so many benefits, and the community is great. I'm not trying to knock the vExpert program, but it's obviously very large now.
It's fundamentally different, right? VMware isn't bringing everybody to an R&D center to meet with product management.
No, that's right.
And we do that in person, right? Certainly you can do that over webinars and stuff, and you know they do a lot of that with the vExpert program, but kind of like bring a lot of people someplace.
Yeah,
you know,
and a lot of those, and again, no disrespect to any other program out there, but that's a very one-way sort of situation where you've got the PMs and the guys talking to those dudes and not taking the feedback. Where else, you know, where else we do that, like in some of our sessions, but lots of it is interactive. They're giving us feedback, we're kind of giving them feedback on the feedback and going from there. But yeah, Nikola, why don't you chat a little bit about, you know, what the Vanguard program, what they get as perks, you know, and what it means to them to actually be part of the group.
Yeah, what's it all about? So Vanguard program is the community and influencer program for people who are experts in various areas of backup and data recovery. And there is not a single unique receipt how to become a Vanguard, but what those people are having in common is that they are working in IT for a couple of years already, and they are like deep diving into the areas of data recovery, backup, and virtualization. Everyone has different approach, and this is what makes the group so unique, because it's mixing people with different experiences and also different approaches towards the Veeam. Depends on their position, and also what is common for everyone who is joining the Vanguard program is that they are huge fans of our products, because this is something that is like the crucial point of interaction in between Veeam and Vanguard, because with being fan of something, they are doing a lot of things around because they are simply enjoying how our product works. So they love to talk about it, they write about it. Some of them are doing videos about it. So thanks to technologies we are having those days, there are many ways for Vanguards how to, let's say, get involved as a Vanguard, and everyone uses his own way how to do this. What is the huge benefit of entering the program is that everyone has access to the early beta products of our new release versions that we are announcing on the market, even before they are announced. And what is great benefit for Veeam, which our Vanguards bringing back, is that they are helping us to test early versions of the products.
Yeah.
Not just test them, but also like reporting us some weak places if there is something to work on, some bugs, whatever they find. Also some troubleshooting, sharing client stories. There is I think that it's not limited by anything, because with the world evolving today, as we could see also when we were trying to do first part of the call, there are still new issues going on regarding the security. So this is kind of a live organism that is working together from Veeam side, also from the Vanguard side, and the interactions going in between are like gapping the bridges in between the user point and the Veeam. So Vanguards are, after working with our products, are also spreading awareness of our products, not just by proving that they are working, but also spreading knowledge about how those products are working. So many of them are trainers, some of them are leading webinars, and there is a whole area of activities that they can do. So we are not having strict KPIs and numbers of things that people have to do, but also, as David was mentioning, it's not for a lifetime, and it doesn't mean that by writing one blog post per year, it's the work is done.
Yeah.
So it's a very individual approach, and we are appreciating every Vanguard of every year, let's say, because every personality brings different way of looking at things and different approaches, also how to work with technologies. And what I would also raise, that is, I think, one of the biggest benefits for the Vanguards being the part of the group, is the interaction with other peers that are part of the program, because not just within the Vanguard program, but also with the Veeam people that they can easily reach to, because they are having really best access to everything that is released by us so far. So I think that this is saying the biggest benefits that the Vanguard program is bringing on the table.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of interesting things. I think the first thing was the passion. Obviously, you know, I've written a lot about tribes in general, tribes and IT, and we all love our brand, right? The one thing that Veeam has done very well from day zero was win the hearts and minds. And you know, our ex co-founder was massive on winning the hearts and minds of people, the IT. That's about making customers happy about the products, and it's very rare that you get products, especially backup products, which traditionally have just been horrible to deal with, that generates this sort of level of enthusiasm and passion and support. It's crazy how that happened, but Veeam was the first sort of a backup vendor to break out of that old mold, and obviously, I think we see some of our competitors today following suit in terms of being trendy, trying to win the hearts and minds in different ways. So it's quite interesting, but certainly these Vanguards have the passion. They're real passionate about it. They're passionate between each other. They talk a lot when they're in these events on the Slack. Our Slack channel is massively active.
Exactly.
And also they love having fun, right? So talk a little bit, you've talked about them talking together, but what about the social aspect? I think that's important. The great thing about a program like this is that it's so tightly knit, where there's only 62 or 68 people, whatever it is that everyone should know each other. And that means that when we get together at these events, we have a yearly event, usually in Prague, and we've had it for the last 2 years there. We had one that was in Vegas, and we had one for Veeam in New Orleans as well. When they get together, we work hard and we play hard. Just talk a little bit about the social aspect, because I think that's pretty important.
Yeah, for sure. As I'm watching all over the Slack conversations, or if I'm also present by the live conversations with Vanguards when we are meeting, not just on Vanguard Summit, but also on some other conferences as VM World or Microsoft conferences around Europe, whatever. This is also, and thank you, Anthony, for mentioning that, this is also one of the biggest benefits, because many people are stating that they have not found just like their peers, like towards the sharing the backup and data recovery knowledge, but also people are finding their friends for life, because this is really the group of people that are having similar focus and also similar mindset, let's say. And no matter the distance, the group is mixed from people all over the world, really. We can say this literally because we are having people from all the continents. And they are every time happy when they see each other live, because they are developing their conversation online through to the year. Also, as we are participating on the calls or some other, let's say, virtual conferences from last year, which is going to probably be even more intensive with the current situation. But every time when Vanguards are meeting each other, I can see also that it's not just about the work, because they are having a lot of fun also when they are together. Exactly as you have said, we work hard, but we also play hard. That's
and I can attest to that, because I've been on both sides, and I'm a massive advocate of the advocacy program as it stands, because I knew, and I'm still good mates. It's actually hard for me to go to these events, because on one side, I have to be like a Veeam employee, Veeam representative, doing the Veeam side of it, But on the other side, I'm one of the guys. I've been one of the guys, and so it's actually I'm always a bit torn as to me sort of putting that together and how I kind of act on that. But end of the day, I can still have a drink with them, many drinks with them over many hours in the night. Maybe see sunrises as well sometimes, But that's what it's about. Because that's important as we move along in our careers, is to build these relationships and these networks, especially if we've got the like David and I met outside of Veeam professionally before we worked together. It's just so important to create relationships. So I think a tight advocacy program also generates that. And then what that does on the flip side, it inverses that and makes the group even tighter and even more sort of into, or the buy-in is more into the actual product and vendor itself. So I think it self-perpetuates itself a little bit, which is quite interesting.
Totally agree. And also I would add that regarding the number of the people inside, even if like one would not, like I remember everyone by name, but like not every Vanguard probably remembers every Vanguard by the name, but they see the faces and they know, because there are interactions in between.
You might
like
know them by their
people.
Twitter handles instead. That's usually something.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know your name, but I know your Twitter handle.
Yeah, that's the other option, exactly. But also, as we are like keeping the group about like 60, even from 60 up to 80 people, it's much bigger difference to remember those people than 1,000 of people in case that we would be growing like the other programs. So this is what we would like to follow also for the future, because it works.
Yeah,
like
and also tell us, obviously we've done the class of 2020, we inducted them last week, and many people were happy. And the thing that's very different about us is that we have to make the tough decisions as well. So we actually got rid of, as unfortunate as it is, and we never liked doing it, we got rid of a fair few people this year and kind of recycled a bit, which in itself is kind of unique for a program, because I think the easy path is to just kind of let people stay and remain stagnant. But we certainly, more and more have taken a bit of an iron fist approach, where we go, look, we love what you do, but have you done more than what this person has that wants to join the program? And we kind of weigh it up. So obviously that makes some people unhappy. Not everyone's going to be pleased that they're out. The only thing that we probably can say, and Nikola probably confirm this, is that doesn't mean you're out for good. And if you get back to that level that we expect, you can get back in. On the flip side, guys coming in that are new, don't expect it to be an easy run, and you have to still do stuff. You still have to be worthy of the program. Would that be a fair assessment?
For sure. I also expect that we will be continuing on also generating content, not just for our Vanguards, but also out of the community for the people that are curious what it needs to be, what it takes to be Vanguard. Or I also was asked by some people that were asking me what they have to do to become part of the program. So as we were mentioning, there are many activities that one can do, and there is never like one single receipt. But definitely, I agree with what you have just said, Anthony, that it's not the thing that if you would once get in, that you are there forever. And also, it doesn't matter that, or doesn't mean that if someone is like, let's say, former Vanguard, that he has to stay in the group until the end of the world. So we are measuring the activity of the people that are in the program all over the year. And regarding what opportunities are given to the Vanguards and members of our community, we are at the end evaluating their performance, and this is what determines the membership in the program for next year. But I think that we will continue on like posting the messages also out of the Veeam, so everyone could understand, and everyone who wants to know more can check Veeam blog, where I have articles. One is about like what is to be Veeam Vanguard in general, and the other one was dedicated for the applications for this year's class. So everyone can also learn what was required for people to join or to ask for joining.
Yeah.
So those informations can be found on Veeam blog also.
And we can't forget, like, Rick Vanover as well, who is our boss. He's obviously been part of this from the start, and he's massively invested in this program. So without him as well, like, this program wouldn't be where it is. And,
I always wondered if it was called a Vanguard because of Van Over, but he said it wasn't. Yeah.
I never thought of that, actually. It was quite interesting.
Yeah. So when I first saw it, one of the comments I made to Rick was, "Oh, is it Van because of Van Over?" And he was like, "No, it's not." And so
yeah, I kind of believe that. That's not like
we do call them the Vannies, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. So we have a which is interesting as well. We've got a special mascot as well. So someone, I don't know where is Vanny at the moment. We don't really know. So Vanny, we have a mascot for the program, which is quite interesting. He's what is he? A stuffed toy, the bird.
I guess he's a vulture, right?
A vulture, yeah, it's a vulture. Yeah. He's been around for, I think, the last 3 years or so. He was born in the UK. He's done a lot of travel around the world. He's got his own Twitter account. If you look up Vanny.
Yeah, it's a big thing if you're a Vanguard to get a picture with a Vanny.
Yeah,
like, I have one like set of my profile picture a couple places.
You do. And also, he's also met very famous people as well, like CEOs of, like, I think he's met obviously some of our CEOs of other companies. So he's pretty cool, and he's also lived a tough life as well. He tends to get abused a little bit as well, the poor bird, having to deal with us and having to be out with us on the dance floor and whatnot. Hopefully Vanny's waiting for this corona virus to go as well, because I know he likes to party.
Yeah, but now he's safe with Vanguard, so they are keeping an eye on him. That's
good. Depends which Vanguard he's with, though, to be honest. If he's with a few, he's never safe, I can tell you that much.
Couldn't he just fly himself?
Well, he somehow got to Perth. I don't know how he got to Perth. Well, I found he was missing for about 3 months, and then I was at a cafe down in the beachfront, and I saw him, and I was like, "Henny, what are you doing here?" I took a photo with him, and it was his background all of a sudden. So yeah, but I don't know how he got there. Crazy bird. All right, so that's really cool. So Nicola, we've got 1:30 left, which is amazing. We love the last minutes here in the Zoom meeting because we don't know when it ends, but we know we've got 1:30. But Nicola, look, thanks so much for joining us. I think.
Thanks for having me.
The Vanguard program is richer for having you on running it, and also for us on the team. So we're really glad to have you on board. And Nicola will continue to run this program well, and hopefully we'll be able to see each other at a Vanguard event, if not this year, maybe next year, when everything kind of settles down.
We will see definitely each other. We just don't know if physically or virtually, but let's leave this for. We don't know now, and it's too soon.
Yeah, let's not. Let's make sure if we do it on a online platform, let's make sure we password protect it and don't publish it.
Yeah.
Because that would
don't open it to everyone.
Don't open it to everyone. Jeez, I can't believe I've been done twice now by this. I got done we got done with my AWS password on GitHub. It got scraped in 5 minutes, and I got done here now. So you think I'd learned my lesson?
It's all you, mate. It's all you.
Hey, look, but like I said, I'll take the rap because if it teaches me and other people a story, then it's actually an important thing. And Melissa's like really still at the moment. I don't know what's happened to her. She's gone really still. Anyway, we've got actually. So thanks, guys. I think we're going to wrap up in about 30 seconds. We never know when it's finishing. But look, thank you, Nicola. Thanks,
thank you, guys.
Frozen Melissa.
Thank you to Frozen Melissa.
Thank you, David. We'll be back next week.
Take care.
Password protection.